Welcome to the first of HeadMagazine.com's series of interviews with experts. I'm Bill Greenberg. Today we will be interviewing Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum, one of the most respected integrative medical authorities in the world. He is the author of several best-selling books including Fatigue to Fantastic, Diabetes is Optional, and Pain-Free 123, and the popular smartphone app Cures A to Z. Dr. Teitelbaum is the lead author of 4 studies on effective treatment for fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, and a study on effective treatment of autism using NAET, and treats people with fibromyalgia worldwide. He's a frequent guest on news and talk radio shows, including Good Morning America, The Dr. Oz Show, Oprah and Friends, CNN, and Fox News Health. Welcome to our program, Dr. Teitelbaum. Thank you for joining us.
Well, it's great to be with you in the head audience. And today, those of you who have chronic pain, or if you know anybody who has chronic pain or fibromyalgia, let them know about this, because we're going to teach you what you need to know to be empowered to get pain-free, because pain really is optional.
Okay. So the first question I have is, can you explain cannabinoids and how they work in the human body?
Well, many of us have heard about neurochemicals or neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, and there's a whole wide array and hundreds of medications built around those. But one of the most common neurotransmitters in the body, one that has the most wide-reaching effect, is actually the cannabinoid system. And there are over a dozen cannabinoids that have different effects that can be found in the whole hemp oil. So it's kind of like you finally had a control panel for all these things in your body that you had no access to before. And now you can go ahead and give your body what it needs to feel fantastic.
So you mentioned that cannabis is an effective pain reliever. Can you give us some background and thoughts on the aspects of cannabis or hemp oil relieving pain, and what advice you can give regarding use of cannabis or CBD or related products for pain?
Absolutely, because if you take a look at pain, pain is not one thing. You've got 7 key kinds of pain. For example, there's muscle pain, there's nerve pain, there's, I could go on and on with the different kinds. Then there's the aspects of pain like anxiety, trouble sleeping, like when you beat a dog, you get kind of like afraid. And when we have chronic pain, we have that same, what's called adverse conditioning. Different cannabinoids actually help with each of these. And there's some like NMDA receptor antagonist needs that the only other treatments available are things like ketamine and things, which are insanely expensive if you want to try to get them intravenously or nasally. So you open up a whole toolkit. This is not just one tool. This is an entire toolkit for pain management if you use the entire spectrum of cannabinoids.
Actually, what is the effectiveness actually on fibromyalgia? I mean, compared to other medicines that are out there right now?
Probably more effective than most. The 3 FDA-approved medications, Cymbalta, Savella, and Lyrica, probably decrease pain on the order of 20 to 30% with a whole wide array of side effects. The cannabinoids in many people are far more effective than that.
Regarding cannabis and CBD, what can be used for relief of anxiety and as an aid to sleep?
Well, basically all of those. For those of you who enjoy smoking marijuana, that especially at nighttime, and I know none of you out there really enjoy that kind of stuff, but just in case there's one or two, especially use in the evening and at bedtime, so you're not walking around stoned all day. Basically, smoking the marijuana may be one of the most effective ways just to help you get into sleep and calming mode. But during the day, you want to be able to function, and that's when using the whole hemp oils becomes a much more powerful approach, especially if you get the over-the-counter ones. And you have to be very picky with brands because some are very good and some aren't. So I tend to have people use the THC in the evening. Also, if they have cancer that they're treating with the hemp, the THC is one of the more active components for the cancer itself. But otherwise, I'm going to tend to use whole hemp oil, which has CBD, but literally 9 to 10 or more other very active components that help with the pain.
Someone who's actually very new at this, and I am, THC, what does that mean?
That's the part that makes you stoned when you smoke marijuana, tetrahydrocannabinol.
Thank you. And that's the other thing. You recommend the CBD and the hemp oil, but are they all products trustworthy, or are there companies out there that we should avoid, or are there companies that we should at least go to begin with?
Well, hemp oil has become very trendy, and because of that, there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of products on the market. Some of them seem to spend most, if not all, of their money on advertising and labels, and what's actually in the bottle is what's the medical word I'm looking for? It's crap. Um, so I'm very picky about the brands that I use. If you
Okay.
have a dispensary near you, since they're regulated, they're more likely to have a good quality brand. Online, the one that I use and the people that I treat with fibromyalgia and chronic pain is called Hemp Select. It's made
Absolutely.
by a company called Terry Naturally. And some people find one or two a day can be helpful. For fibromyalgia and severe pain, 3 capsules twice a day. That has each capsule is 50 milligrams of whole hemp oil and 10 milligrams of CBD. They have one with the curcumin. Don't get that. It's more effective just to get the hemp select hemp oil, and 3 twice a day and 5 at bedtime. Any good hemp oil is going to be pricey, just like marijuana is going to be pricey because it takes a lot of a plant to get a little bit of hemp oil out of it. If you have just a localized pain, you can actually rub the hemp select hemp oil. They have a liquid that you can just rub over the areas of pain, and
Mhm.
that can be helpful as well. So either a dispensary or hemp select would be the two that I find to be very, very effective for people.
Should people be careful about using too much CBD? Is that a big issue?
No, for children with seizures, they're using the equivalent of 200 capsules a day of the hemp oil, and they use it safely. The only real limiting factor in terms of the dose is the cost,
Okay.
because any good product will cost about $1 for 10 milligrams of CBD. But again, get the whole hemp oil because you're getting 10 times the effect. Because again, there are many, many active cannabinoids that each do different things. But higher doses work and they're affordable. There's really no upper limit.
Okay. Um, are there any new cannabinoids out there that we should be aware of? Uh,
Unless God or nature or whatever has made some new plant, you know. No, it's what's happening is we're becoming aware of this very old and one of the most useful plants in the world, and we're becoming aware of more and more of the active components. A lot of the research is focused on the CBD because that's where the drug companies are starting to put their money. They want to make it, and it'll cost about $30,000 a year. And then what they'll do is try to make it illegal for anybody else to promote it. The usual thing. They'll take something that was $20 in a health food store, uh, try to make it illegal, and then it comes out as a $250,000 a year medication. So you'll see that the research talks about the CBD, but more and more studies are showing, like say, cannabinoid after cannabinoid. And like I said, there are a good dozen that have been shown in the science to be really effective. And that's why I like the whole hemp oils.
okay. How do you feel about the creams of tinctures?
Well, again, for topical use, those can be very helpful if you have a small area of pain. If you have body-wide pain, as in fibromyalgia, or big areas like your whole back, then taking it by mouth is likely more cost-effective and more likely to work. But the thing is, just try the different ones. Everybody is different, and see what works best for you.
Okay. You mentioned that cannabis and CBD can relieve pain for people with cancer. Can you talk about that?
Well, cancer is really interesting. There are natural treatments that are probably far more effective than the chemotherapy and radiation for many kinds of cancer. As a physician, it just blows my mind when I'll do a literature search on the research on different kinds of cancer. And almost always there are 3 or 4 or a dozen different things that pop up showing very, very high effect, but that the physicians never hear about because it's not profitable. And here's an important thing for those of you watching. Your doctors can be very good for some things, but all that your physicians will hear about is not what's most scientifically proven to be effective or safe. It's what is most expensive and therefore profitable. Your doctors, to get the information to the doctors, virtually all of our continuing education, conferences, the studies in the journals, all of these are paid for by the drug companies. And one major journal editor, to paraphrase him, called our continuing education slick advertising masquerading as science. So what your doctor has to offer may be helpful, and can be like the hammer in the toolkit, a wonderful tool. But you want to know about all the other tools that the doctor will not hear about. Because the doctor has not heard about it, we are taught to presume that it's quackery. Anything that's not pushed by the drug companies is quackery in our medical education. So I've learned to go straight to the scientific research. So when you're looking at cancer, you'll find, and I'm not against chemo and radiation when used properly. A lot of times it's just used, doctors think they're using it for the right thing, but the research shows that the only benefit of it is ka-ching, it's profitable. So know that there are all these other tools, whether it's for pain relief, whether it's for cancer, whether it's diabetes. One of my books is Diabetes is Optional. Um, there are natural remedies. Two of my favorite natural remedies for pain in general. One is called Curamin, which is a mix of 4 herbs, Uramin. I'll give it 6 weeks to see the full effect. I've seen people where morphine didn't help, and the Curamin got them pain-free. Topical comfrey. A third one is kratom, and for the comfrey, use a form called trauma plant and just rub it on the area. Give these 6 weeks to work. Uh, for those that don't respond to any other pain relief, kratom is a very helpful herb. But again, the brand totally matters. It is not without risks. And for those of you old enough, you may be old enough, Bill, to remember the movie Reefer Madness.
Absolutely.
And the government is now doing the same thing for kratom. They're basically making stuff up. But it does have its issues and concerns, but can be very helpful for severe persistent pain. So know that there are literally hundreds of tools. What you need to know for pain, for those of you who have fibromyalgia, our published double-blind placebo-controlled study showed that 91% of people improve with an average 90% increase in quality of life by treating with what we call the SHINE protocol: sleep, hormones, infections, nutrition, exercise as able. And what this boils down to is that pain is not an outside enemy. Pain is like the warning light. It's like the oil light on the car's dashboard saying something needs attention. The medical approach is you put a Band-Aid over the oil light, and that works really poorly, as we've seen. But if you simply put oil in the car, something doctors have never even considered generally, if you give the body what it's asking for, the pain goes away. The cannabinoids, one powerful tool in doing that, but there are literally hundreds. So for those of you with chronic pain, especially those of you with fibromyalgia, these are very, very treatable unless you go to your regular doctor.
Okay. Now, I understand you have a website if people want to learn more about you. I'll contact you.
Yes, the website is www.vitality101.com. It'll have all the tools you need for those of you with fibromyalgia and even chronic pain. There's a free quiz that'll tell you what's causing the energy drain and how to make it go away. There are all kinds of free tools on the website. For the products I mentioned, they're available pretty much everywhere. We have a website, endfatigue.com, which is E, N like Nancy, D like David, and the word fatigue.com. That'll have the products as well. So happy to have you get them there. But these are widely available, and just know that the pain is optional.
I really appreciate it. Well, I thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Teitelbaum. Is there anything else you'd like to say in closing? And if so, please. Otherwise, I really appreciate your patience and time.
Well, I'm just going to mention that again, most illnesses can be treated if you use a home medical or healthcare toolkit. Know that your doctor is a good person, but they only know what the drug companies are telling them. So keep your wits about you. Do a search even online, although a lot of that stuff's nonsense too. But know that there are so many tools. There's a nice free tool available called, it's a phone app called Cures, Cures, capital A-C. Look up anything from acne to zoster, and it will give you my summary of over 100,000 research studies at this point on what the best natural and often prescription approaches are to treating these options. So again, illness is optional. It's time for you to get your life back.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining us today.